Hello, friends. Good morning and greetings from wherever you are joining. Welcome to this seventh episode of Being a Qualitist Show. As many of you know, this show is dedicated to distinguished quality professionals who've attained the right to be called qualitists, right? And in this show, we speak to distinguished qualitists and learn from them about their journey of quality and what are their views in general about future of quality. So many of you, of course, have attended these shows earlier. So thank you to the people who are coming back and welcome the newer audience that is there. As always, this show will be recorded. It will be available later on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. And we are in the process of setting up Kimpro's YouTube channel as well. So very soon it will be available on Kimpro's YouTube channel, where many more educational and quality related videos will be available. Right. So with that, I welcome you once again to the show. The format for the newcomers, of course, let me quickly go through. We will, of course, have the speakers. It's interview based or a conversation format. And midway during this show, which is about half an hour from now, we will open the show for questions. So those who are live, if you can let me know where you are joining from, so that at least I know that LinkedIn and YouTube are working. That will be awesome. So give me a shout out on where you are joining from. That's always useful. Okay, I will also do a quick check if this is working on all the platforms. Um, Seems to be working. Let me know if people have any. So I can see that it is working. Always important to do a quick check. Yeah, LinkedIn working and we are all set. So just a little bit of a quality check before we go through. Yeah, Biswajit, thank you very much. So good. Vineet, thank you. Some of these are our regular audience. And so let me quickly bring in, we'll get rolling then. I'll bring Balaji in, my partner in crime. We do these shows together. He's, of course, a distinguished qualitist himself and founder of the Deming Forum of India. So, Balaji, I'll add you to the stream. Namaskar. Over to
Namaste.
you.
Well, thank you, Anshuman. I think this is our first episode for 2022. So,
Second, Dr. Suman
oh,
Shri
second.
in,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I think I missed that. Oh, no, that was on
Oh,
25th of
okay, yeah,
December.
that was Christmas Day. So yeah, this is first.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you are
yeah.
right.
So this
This
is
is
our
first.
first
Yes. Yeah,
episode
yeah.
of 2022. So Happy New Year to everybody, including you, Suresh sir, who would be joining us in some time, right? And I think let's look forward to some more politist interviews. It's been 7 months already. My God, I mean. I think what another half a year, and we'll be into 1 year of hosting this. Uh, I mean, when we started out as an idea, but I think it just like what Suresh sir said, we should make this a movement, and I think we are getting there. I hope. I mean, and of course wait for him to say that. I don't want to be too presumptuous, but we are making our small little attempt, and it's always been a pleasure talking to all of the qualitists. I think we learn more than anybody else when we interview them, and makes us feel that there's so much more that people can contribute, and so much that have people have already done. I think the highlight for me in the last year was Dr. Parag Rindani becoming CEO of Workhart. I think that's huge for for a qualitist to attain that kind of position. Uh, Anyway, so let's just go ahead. I'd like to invite Suresh sir, if you could bring him in, and he could make some opening comments for us, including what he thinks of the Qualities show that we have every month. Good morning, sir, and Happy New Year
Good
to you.
morning. Good morning. Good morning. And thank you, Balaji. Thank you, Anshuman. And Devraj, welcome to the show. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
One of the persons whom I admire very much from as a qualitist is Dr. J. Irani, who used to be heading Tata Steel. When he learned the Duran approach, which I shared with them at Dimna near Jamshedpur, incidentally, that was the very first workshop ever at Dimna. All the top people were there, and he understood the power of quality improvement and the byproduct being reduction in cost of poor quality. He declared there, based on the calculations done by Ishaq Hussain, the finance head, that if the COPQ of Tata Steel is 35% of sales, we want to become the lowest cost steel producer in the world in 10 years. This was 1989. By 99, in two product lines, they became the lowest cost steel producer, and a couple of years later, in a few more. Now, why do I find Dr. Irani different? He led from the front. He took on quality on his agenda as a managing director. For every review meeting monthly, he would be the first in the room. Now, unknowingly, he was a qualitist. And so that relationship remained with Jamshedpur for 3 years. Every month, I would make a 5-day visit. Very cumbersome from Calcutta, then by train, and so on. In parallel, I was inducted into the Indian Merchants Chamber to establish a performance excellence award. The CII had already taken the EFQM. So we explored and we said the Baldrige model will work for us. And we did everything that needs to be done except naming the award. The work which went into the background was for 2 years. So, what was the consensus? At that time, the president of IMC was Mr. Harsh Goenka of RPG. He said, let's call it the JRD Quality National Award. And so we set up an appointment with Mr. Ratan Tata, and about 5 of us descended on him in one of the meeting rooms. He listened to us very quickly and showed a lot of admiration for the effort that has gone in, etc. You know, what a gentleman he is. And finally he said, I'm sorry you can't use the name JRD Tata because we are creating an internal award by the name. But we can still work together. And The TQMS was established in Pune. And guess who was heading it? Dr. J.J. Irani. Now, what followed is we named our award the Ramkrishnan Bajaj Award because Mr. Bajaj, a senior member of the IMC, passed away at that time. And he had done a lot for me, and I was very happy to name him that. In spite of the family saying no, I, I prevailed. Can you imagine? I insisted the award will be named that or I quit. So, with a certain amount of blackmail, they agreed to it. And as a first step, what did Dr. Irani do? He wanted to know how we are training our examiners. And he shared how Tata's was, training the examiners. There was a slight difference. He said, hang on, will you take a few lectures for my examiners? And I'll be happy to share our lead examiner, at that time, I think it was Sunil Sinha, to come and train the RBNQA examiners. It worked. I did several sessions in the initial stages, and so did Sunil do with RBNQA. Then the next step was sharing knowledge of how to examine on an actual assignment. So we were loaned three examiners from TQMS, and they borrowed three examiners from RBNQA. Did you know all this, Devraj?
Yes, I have heard about it from you only in the past.
So
Great.
we have had a very good relationship with TQMS, and to date, um, I'm in touch with several other people of that vintage, Jamshed Dabu, Sunil Sinha, so on. So I'm very happy that you have been selected as a featured qualitist, and I'd like to see now what changes have come into TQMS since the time I visited. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wow, it's always wonderful to hear Suresh sir, when he reminisces of all the days gone by, and there's so much we do not know, right, about what happened in the background and during the early days. At least I don't know much about what happened in early days in Quimpro, and especially with all these giants, okay, and so easily interacting with them. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and let's get on to let's go ahead with the show. So let me introduce. That's a part of our formality that we have to do here. Talk about our featured qualitist today, Mr. Devraj Chattaraj. He's GM or General Manager at the Tata Business Excellence Group. I presume pronounced as TBXG, right? And leading the Improvement Interventions Program, which includes process diagnostics through deep dives and best practices benchmarking. He creates opportunities to enable learning and sharing by leveraging the Tata global ecosystem as well as outside of the Tata global ecosystem. He also facilitates capturing, sharing, and implementation of the best practices in the Tata Group companies. He has developed a best practice implementation model. Now, this is interesting. It's coined as EPIC, which is Excellence Practice Implementation Champion, a program wherein he creates the opportunities for the by implementation to connecting to recent recipient companies and potential provider companies. They share their best practices and learn from each other. Is also responsible for managing relationships with other organizations such as the ASQ, there's the American Society for Quality, the APQC, American Productivity and Quality Center, which in turn provide the best practices and benchmarks beyond the Tata Group. On a qualification front, he is a certified manager of quality and organizational excellence, that is CMQ and slash OE from ASQ, and a level three, of course, there's a reason he's a level three Quimpro certified qualitist. So, Mr. Devraj, it's been an absolute pleasure talking about you. And now, of course, it'll be, I think, an even better pleasure interviewing you. So, I think I'll get down to the questions right away. Uh,
Thank you.
so of course, besides being a member of multiple quality and business excellence committees throughout the world, you are also a distinguished qualitist with an absolutely glittering career. I mean, I just spoke about, maybe I've just scratched the surface and the tip of the iceberg, but this is not where you started, right? I mean, could you tell us about your early career, and especially two things? One is how you got into quality, and the other is how did you get to meet Suresh Lula, sir?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you, Quimpro, Mr. Lulla, Jigisha, Anshuman, and Balaji for hosting this episode of Qualitist. And also, thank you all the fellow Qualitists and also who could join today's session. It's an absolute honor to be a part of this vibrant group and chosen as the Qualitist of the month, January 2022. There has always been learning, I think, at each interactions with this community. And this show itself, as I think Balaji was mentioning at the start, is a fantastic concept. We are into the seventh show, and each show is a super hit. And I personally look forward to each of this show. And as I think Anshuman also mentioned, that if someone is not able to attend the live ones, we can always make sure that it find some time to look at the recording because at each show there is a lot of learning from a qualitist journey. So now getting into the question, I think which Balaji asked. Yes, I must say that yes, I was fortunate to start my career with Tata Group straight out of the college after doing my masters in technology, and I started my career in Tata Motors, and it's automotive as an industry, as we know, is very highly matured in terms of the implementation of the quality concepts as compared to probably the other industries. And also started my career in a group where the purpose is to improve the quality of the life of everything we do, and the culture of excellence is driven from the top. And I will quote one of the thing that Mr. JRD said is that always aim at perfection, for only then will you achieve excellence. So that's what is the the ingrained inbuilt the quality and the excellence culture of the group. And while I started my career as a process and product quality engineer, and in a shop which is a heat treatment shop, and probably today the young engineers passing out of the college, fresh out of the college, joining as a graduate engineer trainee or postgraduate engineer trainee, probably would think twice before joining a shop which is, let's say, having a temperature of 50 degrees centigrade, and also in an area like North India, as you know, in the summer. Anyway, it is 45 degree, 46 degree outside, and within the shop, obviously, plus 5 degree or plus 6 degree you'll have right in front of the furnace. But I think while at that time it seemed like probably this is not the place where I should be. But in those formative years, I think exposure to the shop floor Gemba helped me understand its importance, and why it is important to observe the process and then look at the variation and work towards minimizing the variations, because being a process and product quality engineer, this is what I think I used to do. Again, I refer to a quote which is very close to me, and I pass on the same to my team over the years, like which I think Taichi Ono said once, that having no problems is the biggest problem of all. And in Toyota, managers should be sufficiently engaged on the factory floor that they have to wash their hands at least 3 times in a day. So I made sure that learn and learn and observe the process, try to understand the process variations that are happening, and then look at the product quality. So very fortunate enough, I would say, to start in that environment. And also I had different mentors, I think, at different stage of my career. Even starting with I had mentors who actually taught me the importance of standard, in a heat treatment shop. I got exposure to various cross-functional team, cross-locational team while working in new projects like Tata S Gearbox that time when the Tata S was getting launched. During this process, I also learned from various Japanese, Kaizen gurus, sensei. Then I got also the chance to do my postgraduate diploma in quality management from Mahindra Institute of Quality. So I got exposed to all these concepts of TQM, Six Sigma, Lean, got opportunities to visit many shop floors, TQM award-winning companies as part of this program. So at the early stage of my career, I would say that I was very fortunate to get exposed. And that time, all these standards are also coming in: ISO TS 16949, OSAS 18,000, ISO 14,000. So the company was trying to have those standards. That 2000, 2003, that time. So I would say yes. I backed every opportunity to learn and practice, and that I think has given me that exposure to become a person which I am today. And that's why quality, excellence, these are the things that I admire, most. So I could see over the period of years, I could see a shift in my mind about the definition of the quality itself. So, so that's probably the base my long answer towards it. But I think it was worth having this 18 to 19 years of career in a group like Tata's, and also very fortunate that I could start my career at shop floor.
Good. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
you said something which has prompted me to change my question now. What is this shift in the definition of quality that you've had? So what is your now definition of quality, or a little bit more about the shift, and then of course
Right, sure.
we'll-
Yeah, Anshuman, so I was expecting this while I said this. So yeah, so as we know, the quality is like the degree to which a product or process will meet its specification. That is what is the definition by the standard, right? So, okay, there is a customer satisfaction, and you need to meet the customer satisfaction. But then when I worked in certain projects, like I just give one example. A project like, let's say, when we had this Commonwealth Games, the project DTC, Delhi Transport Corporation. So we had to, manufacture those green and red buses that you see in Delhi, right?
Hmm.
So it is not about the buses that probably we were manufacturing as per the standards that we would have developed. The standards were defined by the company, the TTC, that they will float a tender, and in the tender it will be specifically written that what do they want, and that could go beyond your existing standards. So I actually then the learning was that it is not about the standard that you're following. It is the standards are defined by your customers, and in
Hmm.
that we had to do a lot of new things. Like I'm just giving one example. Could be, let's say, the material that we will be using for the seats, the seats in the buses have to go through a flame testing, and it has to be fireproof. So now you have to get each and every lot tested by, let's say, an agency like ARAI or CIRT. Okay, so you have to go there, you have to sit in their shop floor in CIRT, and you have to do the testing lot by lot, and you have to certify. and then you have to send it to the customer. Once the customer agrees to that, then only you'll be able to send this
Correct.
material to the shop floor for manufacturing of seats, and that also to be at the vendor end. It is not about within Tata Motor the vendor seats will be manufactured or made, right? So the entire, the how do you define the entire, the design validation plan? How do you set the standards at the vendor's end so that you meet the specifications of the tender? So that was one of the shift, I would say. When I started my career, probably in heat treatment, it was like very let down standard. This is what is the control plan. This is what you have to follow. You have to maintain this case depth. You have to maintain this temperature. So this is given in standard, but then it shifted towards the
Yeah,
standards being defined by the customers.
really well said. And I think,
Yeah.
people in audience, and we have quite a lot today on YouTube and LinkedIn. If you see what Devraj, very in all humility explained, is a very basic principle of quality, that quality is what the customer receives, not what you do. Right? We may do many things, but ultimately what the customer receives, and compared to what was expected, or even sometimes beyond expected, is quality. And in our pursuit to follow some standards, sometimes we only are complying to the standard, but not really looking at the quality across the enterprise. He also brought out this enterprise quality concept, which is starting with customer, yourself as a producer, and vendors, and all inclusive. So really, good concepts. Thanks, Devraj. I will ask a follow up question on what Balaji earlier asked, but with a slight maybe slant to where you work, right? So you work, of course, for the Tata Group, and I of course know that Tata Group is the epitome of quality, and apart from quality, corporate governance, and many other features, right? So there is a certain advantage in working in such a corporation. In fact, there is sometimes an advantage in working in any large corporation which is quality minded, right? So, of course, Tata Group is the epitome, but the same advantage can be there in many other similar large quality oriented organizations. Have you given any thought to this? What could be these advantages which sometimes may not be there, and therefore others can learn from these things?
Sure, Anshuman, I think that's a great question. I think Mr. Lullas touched upon while setting the context for this session. All these stalwarts, all the the MDs, senior MDs, senior CEOs, senior leaders of the group actually, are the role models. So that's one advantage when you start in a group which is quality minded group. Already the culture is inbuilt, so you try to just follow what's there. But I think it's a great privilege, as I mentioned, to work in this group. There are a lot of sea of learning opportunities for working in a large corporation. And currently, as I'm part of the Tata Business Excellence Group, or even I would say, whoever would be working in such a large corporation or a group, there are huge learning opportunities. I think we have to be open, and you have to, identify those, the uh, opportunities. So if I have to talk about, let's say, in my day schedule or a week schedule kind of thing. So if I'm having, let's say, 3 to 4 interactions in a day, so this could go from from an interaction with a retail company to an automotive company to a steel company to an insurance company in a day, and you get an opportunity to learn each and every the industry. uh, and also, I think the work that we do, we facilitate the the assessments, which I think Mr. Lulla mentioned about the the Tata Business Excellence model, or let's say the any improvement intervention we do with the companies. It's like doing mini MBA, you can say, in that industry. Because if you are engaged for 3 to 4 months for a particular project, or even you're doing a business excellence assessment, so basically what you're doing is you're trying to understand the industry, you're trying to understand the context, and then you're trying to understand that, okay, what they would be doing great, and what are the opportunities for them to take their processes and results to the next level of maturity. So that's one of the motivation, probably, which keeps uh, you know one awake every morning, and that's the eagerness to learn from each interaction during the day. Actually, that is what I look forward each day. Some of the things that I would have picked up from these experiences is that one is that uh, in the entire journey, being humble, passionately listen to the challenges, problems, improvement opportunities, and be empathic with the everyone, whoever would be coming and would be seeking some help, and practicing also the AI is not artificial intelligence here. AI is about the appreciative inquiry in the process. So try to appreciate whatever they would have done till now, and then try to understand that, okay, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities for them where probably I can be a partner. Being flexible, always open to listen to diverse ideas, open to learn at each and transaction, as I mentioned, and help solving problems, business problems. It's not about giving the GAN or knowledge that probably I have from the book. It's about they don't want probably recommendations. They know, because they are the best person. They know their challenges, and they know probably what would also work better, but they want someone who can help overcome those challenges. So try to be a partner, a thought leader in the journey of the excellence, not probably as a consultant or as an advisor. And in this journey, if someone, let's say, is seeking for help, and if, let's say, we have to understand the context and we have to help them, then obviously one has to prepare very well with all the data points, information, before sharing thoughts or views, because they are looking at probably us as a thought leader, as a partner, right? So they are looking at something which is probably beyond what probably they can think about. So need to be always one step ahead, as the community with whom one would be interacting are also highly experienced in these fields. So I would say that's probably one of the the advantage that is there, working in such a quality oriented group, because you always have interactions which are very high level actual interactions. You get to interact with the CEOs, CXOs, various process owners, even in the shop floor. So that enriches one's personal knowledge, and also throws a lot of challenges, and that's why once you have the challenges, then you have to think, okay, how can I solve this problem? And it is not solving about in one company, one industry. It is about multiple industries, multiple companies. So that's probably gets us going every day.
Really good.
Well,
Balaji, before you come in, just a
yeah.
quick reminder of two things. One, of course, I have on LinkedIn, I have posted that this episode is now available on Kimpro TV on YouTube. So those who are new to Kimpro TV, you can go to YouTube, search for Kimpro TV, subscribe to it, so that you can see past episodes and alerts for future episodes. That will be awesome. It will help grow the community and the tribe, and more such content will be available going on it going forward. That is one. Two, we are half an hour into the show, so your questions are now welcome. All the tough questions that you've been saving for Devraj can now come out. Keep the easy ones for Balaji, and no questions for me. Okay, Balaji, over to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, Mr. Devraj, listening to you speak, especially when you were asked about, being in the Tata group and being fortunate that they have a kind of a culture for quality. I found myself, connecting with that because I worked with a great gentleman all my career, Mr. R.V. Ramchandran, and I never had a problem about, anything to do with quality. I always had his backing. My problem came when I left the company and I started being on my own. And that is when I saw as a consultant, that's where I saw the problems come. So it was quite funny and I connected with what you said. Uh, However, I mean, the first question which I asked, I don't know whether uh, I skipped it or whether you missed saying it, but I don't think you mentioned how you met Suresh Lula, sir. I think we'd like to know about that. And follow up to that once you were there about the younger audience, listening to us today, who are considering a career in quality. What kind of advice would you want to give them? I mean, because they would be looking forward to hearing from someone like you. So, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so going back to that question, I think which you asked. So Suresh Rulla sir is always a mentor, so I thought maybe I'll skip that question because whenever I think my association with the Pro as an examiner would be more than now 6 or 7 cycles, maybe 2013 or maybe that 14, that period probably. So yes, I think I participated in one of the Pro convention. Then I met Lasser, and then I think I also you know registered myself as an examiner. So during this process also I had an interaction with him, and then once I joined Startup Business Excellence Group, and I was kind of handling the best practices and the benchmarking program. So that time again I you know sought his views, you know uh, that how probably we can collaborate, the best practice club, the global benchmarking network that we have, how we can collaborate. And I met him in his office, and also by the side of the convention always there was a discussion that okay, how we can cultivate best practices, how we can source best practices in a large complex group like this, and how we can transfer, how we can actually reap benefits out of this entire program. It is not about just sourcing best practices or cultivating best practices. So yes, it's always been I think each interaction has always been enriching uh, with Mr. Lulla sir. So I can't wait meeting him personally now. Hopefully next few months. Yeah, the next question I think you asked is about the what would be my probably suggestion or advice to the qualitist to make a priority. That is what you asked, right, Balaji?
The younger generation, yeah, watching you,
Younger
and if they want
generation.
to make
Okay.
a career out of quality,
Right.
what what
Right. Right.
what advice would you want to give them?
Right. So I think I personally I'm learning from my experiences, but I can share whatever probably I am today, what helped me shaping uh, the quality or excellence professional. And today I can always share. So I think one important thing, as I mentioned, also is they need to develop an eye for detail. That is, you know, zoom in and zoom out. I think that is very important for a quality person. Uh, Whatever, let's say, I'm doing as a quality person or an excellence person, how does it relate to the overall business? That is what is the zoom out, the bird's eye view. Can I relate my work to the vision or mission or the strategic objectives of the organization? Or is it my thinking is limited to okay to that function where I'm working? That is very important, that capability of the having the worm's eye view and the bird's eye view, zoom in zoom out capability, that is very important, I think, what I felt in my career. The other one is the be close to the gemba, whether you are working in a shop floor or whether you're working in an office or whether you're working in a project. I think you have to be hands on. Otherwise, maybe the reports, the PowerPoint, whatever you get, may not be able to analyze, may not be able to generate insights if you actually cannot visualize what probably would be happening in the shop floor. So there should be this 3G concepts, as we say, Gemba, Gembutsu, Genjitsu. So real time, and the real place, with the real part, I have to be there. It's not a SCPCCC concept that I learned somewhere during the PGDQM. SCPCCC concept is that, under AC, in front of the PC, and with the cell connectivity, I cannot do game. so, so, so it has
I'm
to
going
be
to I'm,
real
I'm
plus.
going to quote this.
It cannot
I'm
be
stealing this from
SCPCC.
you.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's the idea of the best practices sharing. You can steal. So SCPCC concept will not work. If you want to be really a Gemba person, you have to go there. So that's
Yeah.
another, I think, important piece. You have to be passionate for whatever you're doing, passion for excellence, relentless pursuit to learn and adapt. At each and every transaction we should look for opportunity, even if it is a vendor person who is working in the shop floor doing welding. I have learned personally how to do the welding. Okay, if I have to do some improvement, I have to involve that person. If I don't involve that person, if I say no, from tomorrow you do this standard, he will say that no, it will not work because this is my problem. So that's why you have to be at Gemba, you have to involve and you have to learn from each
Yeah.
and every person, even if that person is a temporary person, contract person, daily wage or whatever. But that person is doing the job, and that person can only improve that the job. So you have to just listen to the person, observe that person what they're doing. So that's why passion for excellence, learning from each and every transaction, each and every person that comes into each and every transaction. Be flexible, empathetic, uh, and commitment is very important. It cannot be like I'll say that okay, I'm 50% committed. There is no such 50% commitment. It is either binary, either 0% or 100%. Either you are in the zone or outside the zone. You cannot be on the border. So, if for an excellence person or for a quality person, it has to be always in the zone, 100% or 0%. If you're not 100%, please don't do that because it will be half cooked. The quality will be get impacted. Quality will get impacted of the job, right? So that's another important thing I'll say, and ability to also absorb feedback. Have critics, have mentors, so that you can also get a lot of feedback, and candid feedback. It cannot be always good feedback that you will receive. Have also some friends, some guys who can also give you bad feedback. This is not the way you should do, and this is not good. You should improve like this way. So I think ability to absorb feedback and also develop the skill to also provide feedback to the team members, even if it has to be a bad, the message. And finally, I think I would say that people should look you. As a quality person, they should not be looking at you as a police. Someone has come and policing your
Mm.
activities. Okay, okay, not okay. Quality control job. This guy has come. Okay, okay. Now you know let us quickly get back to the standards. So they should not look at you as a police. They should look at you as a part of the team. You should be part of the team, and be ready to highlight the bad message and be part of the team who would solve their problems. It cannot be a policing activity. So I think these are the important things that we should remind ourselves while they're in the shop floor or anywhere as a quality person.
Wow. Yeah. And when you said you should be in the zone, either you're there 100% or you're not there at all. It reminded me of a rude joke which we used to have. Either you're pregnant or you're not. You can't be a little pregnant. You have to be. It's either there or not. So you're going to be 100% committed or you're not. Right, Anshuman, you wanna take it forward?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So thank Devraj. We are in the last quarter of the show, so I will take a question from the audience, and of course, audience, keep the questions coming, especially if you are on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn will allow us to go back to your questions and answer them later on as well if they can't be answered live for paucity of time. So I'll take a question from Biswajit Parida. I'll put it on the screen as well. What are the visible benefits you, as in your group and the work you do, have observed by implementing business excellence models such as the Malcolm Baldrige? Of course, you and I know Devraj, but I think this will be a common question. So thanks, Sujit, for asking a question which will probably be there for many people in this call. Devraj?
Right. So as you would be aware that we are following at a group level this model for the last 3 decades. It started off in 1994, and everyone knows about where the group was that time in terms of whether it is the top line of the group, the businesses coming from outside India, and where it is today in terms of the revenue, in terms of the the businesses that we have outside India, the percentage of revenue that it comes from the international operations. So while you can always say that is there a direct correlation of following business excellence with the group's journey in the last 3 decades, but there is some correlation. It may not be y equal to mx plus c kind of thing, but be after following this business excellence journey, there are values that each and every company, the group would have received, and that's why you are continuing this journey. And in the Baldrige world, the Tata Business Excellence model is a benchmark process. It is being said by them only. Then no group within US or outside the US would be following this model for so long and so successfully. And this model is not followed as an award model in the group. It is a performance excellence program. Whether it is Tata Steel, or is it Tata Motors, Tata Power, all the matured companies, bigger companies, the older companies, still come back to the assessment process and still see value from this assessment process. And if you see the Mr. Lula was mentioning the assessor program, assessors. If you see some of the assessors who would have played the role of team member, team leader way back in 1994, 96, they are all today, the senior managing directors, the senior, the CEOs, CXOs in the group. So it is being seen as the leadership capability building as well, at the group level. This program, entire program, being assessor is not just doing assessment. It also personally, it also helps you to become a leader, to see how the business works, as a 360-degree. So there are many books. I would recommend, you can say, many case studies, many books being written on this journey. Uh, and the model itself also, goes through a lot of transformation. So today, if we talk about Industry 4.0, organizational resilience, the cyber security, all these things are embedded into the model as well. So if the model is of 25 years old, obviously, the companies will not see value. So the entire assessment process, the entire capability building process, entire process within TBXG, the model, also goes through transformation by seeking feedback from the multiple stakeholders of this channel.
Sure. Now, Sujit, I hope your question was answered. There were a couple of other questions also similar. Mr. Padi, he's from Indo Gulf. Good to see you on the show, Mr. Padi. But I'll bring his question in. Quick one, and if you can move quickly to the next one as well. So, how often your senior leadership team joins with the shop floor camp activities, as it demonstrates their commitment and also inspires the people around towards a quality culture? So, of course, the question may not be from what you directly do, Devraj, but in general from a group point of view. And Mr. Padi is, of course, from the Birla Group, so he is also from an equally well-respected, culture. So this is like learning from each other. So thank you for that spirit, Mr. Padi. Over to you, Deva.
Yeah, so it's always been, as I mentioned, the senior leadership blessing is always there for this kind of journey. If there is, the no, let's say, governance or review at this level, obviously it cannot be sustained for 3 decades. So if I have to start, let's say, at a Tata Sons level, which is the custodian of the model which we run, we actually facilitate the journey on behalf of Tata Sons, under Tata Sons, with the various Tata companies. So, if you see, the assessment, the feedback, while it is given to the CEO of the company and the leadership team, the high level feedback is also shared with the board of directors of that company. And also one level up, the one slide snapshot of that year's assessment of that company is also shared with the group chairman. So that's what is the kind of a significance of the entire assessment process. So the board is involved. The group chairman also gets a view of what's happening in the journey of business excellence of the Tata companies, and obviously the CEO and the leadership team also gets the immediate feedback post the assessment. Now there is also a governance and review. The board would be asking CEO and the leadership team that, okay, what's happening? In the quarterly board meeting, let's say, what are the actions that you are taking on the assessment OFIs, right? Similarly, obviously, when the CEO has to report it, the quarterly board meeting, the CEO has to also have the governance and review within the organization. Right? So what do they do is that they go for an action planning, and they drill it down to each and every function, each and every department, and there is a governance and review that happens, right? So the CEO's involvement, the commitment is there from top to the bottom, the leadership's involvement top to the bottom. And if you see the capability building exercise that we do is across the organization. We have business excellence champions program, we have business excellence assessor program, we have the business excellence awareness program, leadership sensitization, through which they appreciate the understanding of this particular model. And whether it is a review on safety, or whether it is review of any other processes, you will see the visible involvement of the senior leadership team. Just to give an example, let's say if there is a monthly CEO discussion, monthly CEO briefing, like a kind of town hall. The CEO of that particular company will start with the safety pause and the ethics pause. And if there is a let's say a question coming in during this town hall from a very very, let's say, distant plant, someone who would be working in the shop floor, that question is also being taken by the CEO and addressed by the CEO. And whenever the CEO or the MDs are there in those plants, in those sites, they make sure that they also have a kind of visit to the shop floor. So I'm
Sure.
sure that there are a lot of opportunities to collaborate even beyond this show. So I'll be happy to connect.
Certainly.
Mm.
I, I'll Balaji, before we move to you, I just will, bring in one of our distinguished qualities. Sumant Sood is also on the show, and he's of course from the Tata Group, heads the
Yeah.
innovation function at Titan. He's also added to what Devraj is saying on behalf of the group, that senior leaders do participate personally in all shop floor Gemba activities. So thank you, Sumant, for your response. And we have a few more questions, but we will go to Balaji if you want to ask, or Mr. Lula, I think, has something to say. You want to come in, sir?
Devraj, that's very comprehensive and very well explained. You haven't covered the whole canvas, though. What is admirable of TBEM also is their treatment of the environment, the treatment of people, the culture that you are building. That's an integral part of TBEM. I'd like your inputs on that.
We've lost
We've lost him.
Devraj's works live stream. Let me quickly check. Looks like we've lost Devraj for a bit. He will be back. So, sir, I
Oh, there he
No,
is.
think he's back. Hi.
I just switched on the other
Sure. Did you hear
network.
the question,
Yes.
sir had asked? Yeah.
Sorry, I think I lost, sir, the 2 minutes.
Yeah. So the
If you can,
question
sir, ask.
primarily, of course, is that around the focus on environment and culture in TBM that
Yes,
sets it
yes,
apart, and of course the
right.
the whole implementation at Tata Group is unique because of that. So anything to quickly say on that so that we can
Right.
close the
I
show at.
think, I think what Mr. Lulla has mentioned, it's part of the any excellence, I think, framework, whether it is, the senior leadership, playing a role model, how, whether it is related to legal behavior, ethical behavior, environment, sustainability, the community support, it's ingrained into the, the senior leadership category of that framework. And as part of that, senior leadership has to demonstrate that as a role model. And that's why I think what Sumant also mentioned, what Mr. Lulla is also mentioning, is that, unless there is a commitment, unless the visibility is there of the senior leadership in the shop floor in those activities, you can't set the direction for the organization. So thank you, sir, for reminding me.
Thanks. And Balaji, over to you. Probably the last question so that we
Yeah,
can
sure.
end this
I
on
mean,
time.
yeah, though, since we're talking about the last question and we've spoken about what happened and what is happening, but now let's talk about the future. I mean, as quality as a profession, quality as an entity, right? We've seen massive changes coming in, and now we are seeing even more changes coming. What's your view on the future of quality as an entity, as a profession? How do you see it? Quality as a profession.
Thanks, Balaji. I think this is another question, I think, which is very common. And again, the definition of even the future of quality is changing. So pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, new normal, all these things, are again defining the quality. I think future of quality, probably before pandemic, it was like, okay, we have quality 4.0. So we have AI, ML, RPA, technology, and all these things. Now, post pandemic, it is about, okay, now we are looking at n equal to 1. Each and every customer is different, and the expectations of each and every customer is different. Sustainability has to be, embedded into quality, right? Health, has to safety has to be embedded into the quality. So the definition of even future of quality is changing. So, but I'd like to say that yes, whether it is quality 4.0 or it is quality 5.0, in my view, the quality at its core is not going to change. I think Mr. Lulla will also agree to this, and that's why, even, whatever Sir was saying 30, 40 years before story, still that story of COPQ, is valid today.
Hmm.
So it is not going to change. COPQ is not going to change, right? So it is about, how do we deliver or exceed customer expectations? How do we become more customer obsessive with the enablement of this technology, and all? So that probably, will change. How you'll do that, but what part is not going to change, right? So there will be always a customer, and there will be requirements, expectations, though it will be changing. So we need to deliver or exceed their expectation. That will be there. So how do you continuously create value for the customers? That will define quality. And how do you continuously innovate and create delighters? That will decide whether we'll exist in the future or not as an organization. That probably, is going to be important. And quality must become, I would say, a competitive differentiator, and it has to be beyond product and process. As I was mentioning, the more and more sustainability thing will come into the picture, more and more social quality thing will come into the picture, ESG and all these things, right? Climate change, all these things are going to come into the quality. So in my view, quality professionals like us can play a vital role in leading our organizations to apply proven quality disciplines to new digital and disruptive technologies. So I wish more and more quality and experience professionals become CEOs and CXOs. We have already an example, Dr. Parag, becoming CEO. So I wish many such, the quality professionals become CEO and CXOs in the future.
Okay, so we had a long list of questions as well, Devraj, and there are some questions from Nilotpal, Sivram, Vineet. A couple of them are more on the digital part that you briefly touched toward the end. So I know that the question answer may not be comprehensive, Vineet and Sivram and Nilotpal, but rest assured we will try and answer it on the LinkedIn page. Thank you for your questions and participation. There are quite a few others as well. But Devraj, we booked an hour of your time and we would like to let you go. But we can't let you and we can't leave this show without some closing comments from Mr. Lula, whom I will bring into the stream to close it out. Anything that you wanted to share as a summary, sir, or any closing comments at all?
You want me to say something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
in closing.
Well, thank you, Devraj. You've enlightened us. I appreciate the passion with which you responded to each question. Obviously, you've been there, and there's no substitute for experience. The experience came out very clearly. Thank you for that. There, what differentiates your model is your focus on community, environment, and culture. And your customer is internal customer is more important for an organization such as yours. You also consider society as your customer and Mother Earth as your customer. So it's very holistic, the approach, and this is why the brand Tata is what it is, trustworthy. Everyone trusts it, all walks of life. So, with that, I will conclude my comments.
Thank
Over
you
to
very much,
you.
sir. And yeah, no, I will. I would love to. We have a reputation now, sir, for starting and closing these sessions on time. So I would like to uphold that reputation. Devraj, thank you very much for your views. Of course, the views don't come in vacuum. The years of experience and actual hard work is what brings those views in a very simple, lucid, easy to understand manner for everybody. And that's a lesson that Balaji and I would like to leave the audience with, that these views, the place where people like Devraj are and all our distinguished qualities are, is achieved through hard work, consistency, day in, day out, doing the things that matter and helping the organization. So you don't get there in a year or two. So those who are youngsters on this journey, keep the faith, keep the patience. Quality does pay off for people. You have several examples, say four examples in this call itself. So, and there are many, many more, right? So, and do keep joining us for these sessions. A reminder once again, Kimpro TV YouTube channel is live now. These shows will be in future also broadcasted live. Today is also a test was done. It has worked perfectly well. Just go to YouTube, search for Kimpro TV. You will find the channel and you will also have access to of course, if you subscribe, you will have access to the previous archives and alerts as well. So, with that, I would like to close the show. Mr. Nulla, as always, thank you very much. For surprising us and landing on the show again today. Always a pleasure, and we will look forward to further surprises like this. Devraj, always thank you. Balaji, my partner in crime. Once again, thank you, and the biggest thank you is to the audience who stuck around for about an hour with us. And quick reminder, these shows are always recorded, so they will be available. Those who check the recording, please do take time to even share it amongst your friends and colleagues. With that, I will say bye bye. And on behalf of the panel, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.